Well, the United Nations Security Council is set to convene an emergency meeting over the strike this Tuesday, called by Algeria. The meeting will be a closed consultation, meaning that no resolutions can be voted on. And also, as of this Tuesday, 3 European countries are formally recognizing the state of Palestine, a decision slammed by Israel as a reward for Hamas. Spain, Ireland and Norway announced the coordinated move last week, hoping others will follow suit. We've just heard from the Israeli foreign minister who said the Spanish PM is complicit in inciting Jewish genocide over the recognition. And a little earlier, we heard from the Spanish Prime Minister himself, Pedro Sanchez. He said in a televised address that this is a historic decision that has a single goal: to help Israelis and Palestinians achieve peace.
This is a historic decision that has a single goal: to contribute to achieving peace between Israelis and Palestinians. The recognition of the state of Palestine is not only a matter of historical justice with the legitimate aspirations of the Palestinian people, but it is also an imperative need to achieve peace.
Well, our next guest is a lawyer and international criminal investigator specialising in war crimes. She's also the founder and director of the NGO We Are Not Weapons of War. Céline Bardet joins us on set. Thank you very much for being with us on France 24. We're going to be talking about this recognition of the state of Palestine and its implications. First of all, why now? I mean, we've seen over the last few months horrific scenes from Gaza. On Sunday, really, we have the feeling that it's the straw that broke the camel's back from that strike in Rafah that we've been talking about. Antonio Guterres saying that the horror must stop. How has what we've been seeing in Rafah prompted European nations to act, and in particular, a call for Palestinian statehood?
Well, you know, I'm not a political specialist, but actually I would say exactly what you said. I think the horror and the atrocities are, meeting such a level that now there is a political reaction, I guess, hoping that moving forward to the recognition of a state of Palestine would help, a ceasefire or some peace or some way out for this situation. I guess that's the main reason.
And from a legal standpoint, what exactly does this change for the Palestinians?
Well, Palestine has a status at the UN, so it is recognized. Palestine has ratified the International Criminal Court, so it is recognized as an entity. But of course, it's very important because it's not yet as a state. So no, legally speaking, it has a huge also impact. It's totally different. And I think given the situation, now we need to move forward toward this, and we need to have equal state and legal state, meaning legally recognize other state as a nation. So yes, it is very important.
Right, but how far can the law go? I mean, we've seen the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, the UN's top court, call on Israel to halt its offensive in Rafah. Israel says its actions are completely in line with international law. I mean, what comes next? What can the law do?
Well, I think the law, unfortunately, and it's me saying this, cannot do much. But what we can see is that what the law is doing everything it can, if I must say, ICJ, ICC, the UN. But if there is Israel does not recognize anything, and the law, the justice is not here to stop war. Unfortunately, if it could, it would be great. But we see some consequences, politically speaking. So I think this is important. It posed some bricks on the wall, and it push also states to have some political statement, some of them being, recognition of Palestine, some of them calling more, roughly and more toughly about a ceasefire. So this is what the law is doing right now. And when it comes to justice and give justice to victims, I think it's going to take, much more time.
Right, and the leaders of Norway, Spain and Ireland said that they made this decision in an effort to support a two-state solution. I know you're not a political expert, but do you think such a solution is realistic?
Well, I don't know whether it is realistic, but I think that unfortunately the terrible moment we are all witnessing is also an opportunity for that, and it is a necessity including for Israel's security, that these two states now, appear in the international framework. So I guess it is realistic. I think it's more realistic, to be honest, than a proper international justice, given to victims on all the crimes committed. But I guess it is realistic, and it's needed. I think we have no way, no other way now, given the situation.
And other countries like Belgium and Slovenia might follow suit, but could a European recognition bring Palestinian statehood any closer?
Well, that's an excellent question, because, states, they are expressing things, but it would be extremely interesting, and I think something like that should happen. It would be very interesting that the European Union, as an organization, political organization, come with this. I have no idea whether they're going to do it, but I think this would be extremely strong.
And could the future and the legitimacy of international law be at stake here? What we see in the coming weeks, months from this? As
I told you, I mean, it's very difficult. I think the law is here. The law exists. We don't need more legal provision or anything. Everything is here. The ICC is doing its job. The ICJ is doing its job. Now, all is within the hand of the politics and the state who will accept or not, to apply the law. And on this, I mean, there is nothing that we can do.
Right. And you mentioned earlier the Palestinian status at the UN. But it still doesn't have full member status. What would that mean if it was eventually granted this, and what are the chances of it?
Well, I think the chances of it are quite important. I think it's totally possible. And then again, the change is that you are a state, so you are given all, so to speak, privilege of being a state. To become a state, you have to be recognized by a fair number of other states. That's how international public law is working. So beside the already Palestine as an ambassador at the UN. So anyone who would look at that would say, oh, okay, it's like a state. So concretely speaking, it wouldn't change that much, but it changes everything for the position of Palestine. It would put the state of Palestine equal to other, and this changes everything.
Right, and the ICC chief prosecutor has asked for arrest warrants for the Israeli Prime Minister and leaders of Hamas. Do you believe that accountability can come from this?
Well, accountability is already coming from this. When you have an international criminal court issuing warrant that needs to be confirmed yet, so we need to be very careful with that. For the moment, it's a move of a prosecutor, not of a court of justice. So accountability is already there. I mean, the fight against impunity is already there when you come up as a court and say, okay, crimes have been committed. Now, whether people will be brought before a court or this, I have no idea. But I think it pushes, we saw already in Israel, the military, head of military, announcing that they would open investigation against wrongdoing being done by Israeli member of the army. So I think it pushes also, it puts you on the wall, and it pushes you to act. So yes, this is already some form of accountability.
Right, and for you, what would be the best case scenario in the coming months? What could come of this?
In terms of justice or in general?
Both.
Well, in general, I think, honestly, I think the emergency now, what is really urgent, and again, it's me as a lawyer saying that, it's not that much justice, it's the question of a ceasefire. I mean, we need to stop all this violence. Whether justice is helping to do that, I'm not that sure, because we saw the reaction of Netanyahu, toward the ICC request for warrant. But this is what we need right now. And then we will see. What also is very important, and the job I'm doing, is we need to document in a very independent way what happened. We need not to forget October 7th, because this is extremely important. And we need to document in the view of international humanitarian law the way Israel is responding in Gaza and what crimes are constitutive, are constituted in the way he is responding. So Israel is responding. So this is what we need to look at, because again, in all of that, we are talking about Palestine, we're talking about Israel. Me, I'm thinking about the victims, all of them, and that's very important.
Of course, but investigating war crimes is obviously extremely difficult at this stage with the war ongoing. How can we investigate going forward? And obviously we need a ceasefire for that to happen.
Well, for Gaza, it's complicated because you cannot access Gaza, but there are some territory you can access. For Israel, there are work that is being done with also Israeli lawyers. I'm working with a defense lawyer who represents many victims. For Gaza, we are trying to cover it, my NGO, especially when it comes to sexual crimes and violation committed by the army. But yes, it takes time. It's difficult during a conflict. But documentation is very important, and it's very important that it's been independent. I think, especially on this conflict, it is absolutely crucial.
All right, Céline Bardet, a lawyer and international criminal investigator, thank you very much for speaking to France 20.
Thank you.